Hey, it's me, MLB. It's been a long time coming, but here is Gimme a Kiss Part 2. I'm going to be going back through the requested continuations of the other one-shots and doing more parts for them. Some with just one extra part, some with more, just depending on how the story flows. And then I'll be moving to open a new fandom so that I can give you guys some more variety. If you've noticed that my voice sounds a little bit squeaky, it's because I am on the verge of losing my voice or getting it back. So if it does squeak out, I do apologise. But anyway, with those little PSAs done, let's get to it. Here is part 2 of Gimme a Kiss. Enjoy. Even though Toga tried to cheer you up over the next few days, you just couldn't shake the thought of that hero. He had tasted so sweet that one time that you'd kissed him, and you knew that you could get him to that point again. You had to. It had become a craving now. You were at the point where you'd do anything to have just one more kiss like that from him. So your mind started working and the cogs started turning, and the more that an idea started to grow and gain limbs, the more you giggled to yourself and thrashed on the bed with delight, using all of your creative juices to squeeze your freshest plan and sip it slowly. "I've got it! I've got it!" you sung internally to yourself, hugging your pillow tight as you grinned into it. "I know how to make him give me one more kiss." Running over your plan one more time in your mind before finding Toga, you ironed out the kinks and then set off to find her. Tamaki was still worried that you might show up again. You'd done it twice already, so there was always a possibility that you'd appear out of nowhere and catch him off guard. "You seem more unsettled than usual, Sun-Eater," Mirio said brightly as they patrolled together, the bright hero marching confidently beside his more reserved partner. "I'm just thinking about that girl who As he was trying to get the words out, he slowly walked over to the building wall nearby and pushed his forehead up against it. "The one who kissed you?" Mirio finally finished for him, stopping beside him so that they could talk. Tamaki nodded into the wall. "But you managed to beat her last time, so what are you worried about?" Mirio asked brightly, ever the optimist as he walked over to the shy hero. "I don't know if she's going to show up again. And can I be positive the next time around? What if she has others with her?" Tamaki asked glumly. "I wish I was as strong as you, Mirio. Nothing scares you." "Lots of things scare me," Mirio admitted in a soft, kind voice, placing one hand on Tamaki's shoulder. "But a true hero fights on despite being scared, right?" Tamaki nodded reluctantly. Just then a loud boom sounded from nearby, very closely followed by the shattering of glass and screams from the public. "Looks like we need to get going, Sun-Eater. You in?" Mirio asked as his gaze lifted to look towards the sound ahead. A black plume of smoke could now be seen swirling up into the air between the buildings, and he grabbed for Tamaki's arm. "No time to lose. We need to move, right?" he called as he started to run in the direction of the smoke. He pulled his partner along for a bit and let go of Tamaki's arm so that he could use all of his limbs if need be. Tamaki was now running just a pace behind him, eyes now up front and searching for the problem as he pushed his uneasy thoughts to the back of his mind and prepared to be a hero. It was hard to make out what was going on. There were panicked people running everywhere and the smoke was getting thicker, so he slowed just a tad, almost immediately losing sight of Mirio ahead. "Lemillion? Lemillion!" Sun-Eater called, slowing to a halt as a larger mass of people rushed towards him and caught him up in their flight away from the destruction. Another massive plume of smoke engulfed him, and he raised a hand to shield his eyes. Then all of a sudden he was whacked across the back of the head by something solid, and he blacked out. He wasn't sure how much time had passed when he finally woke again. His head ached, his eyes stung, and his vision was blurry, so it took him a minute to realise that he was sitting in a chair with his hands tied to the armrests. His feet had been bound as well. Immediate panic set in, and then suddenly a pair of soft lips touched his, and his energy drained immediately. As he slumped in the hard wooden chair, he heard an all-too-familiar giggle to his right, and he slowly and warily turned his head to look in the direction of the giggle. It was you, just as he feared. "Oh, so sweet," you gushed. "I love it when you taste like that." His half-lidded eyes glossed over you, his fuzzy mind trying to work out what was going on. "Aren't you happy to see me again?" you asked brightly, doing a little skip as you moved to in front of him. "I just couldn't stop thinking about you, and I caught you, and I put you here." "Why?" he whispered out in a tired voice, lids half open and his intense pupils glazed. "Why? Because I love you and I love your kisses, he replied happily. I didn't want to spend a day without you, so I brought you here to stay with me forever. Tamaki's heart sank and his worry showed on his face, giving you the cue to kiss him again. Yeah, you squealed with delight. So sweet. The last of Tamaki's energy had now been taken and he passed out, sinking sideways in the chair as his head flopped forwards. Wanting to grab as much of the remnants of his negative, sweet-tasting emotions as possible, you dropped to your knees and shuffled forwards to cup his limp head in your hands and pressed your lips to his soft, warm ones over and over again, gleaning all of that sweet flavour that you could. It was again an unknown amount of time that had passed when he finally woke again, groggily raising his head to look around. You weren't there, and he sighed with relief, but he didn't stay relieved for very long. He only had a certain amount of time before you would return, and he knew that he needed to rein in his fears, otherwise he'd be stuck in a perpetual cycle of negative emotions that fed you and weakened him. I need to think positively. What would Mirio do in this situation? He thought as he looked down at his binds. Then it dawned on him. The binds didn't have any quirk-cancelling properties. He could be free, but he was weak and hadn't eaten for some time. Outside the room, you were gushing to Toga about how you and her had caught him. Oh, he's so amazing, you gushed dreamily, clutching your hands together and pressing them to your cheek. I'm so happy for you, Yen, Toga replied with a blush on her cheeks. His friend, the other hero, was so good too, with the blood gushing down the side of his face. I really want to be like him. I love boys when they're all beat up and smell like blood. I really hope that his blood will help you get what you want from your Sun Eater in there. Oh, it will, you replied excitedly. I'll just go and check on him, and then we can move to phase 2 of our plan. Ooh, what is phase 2, I hear you ask? Well, we will find out next Wednesday when part 3 airs. See you then.